Well, coming up right now, the college football playoff rankings are coming out. How far will A&M drop? Is Tech in line for a bye? And can Texas get within striking distance? We'll find out as it starts right now. More changes in college football coaching. Mark Stoops out. Former UTSA offensive coordinator Will Stein in at Kentucky, while Joey McGuire is staying put at Tech.
Outside. Get the facts at don'tpassgas.org.
This is Extra Innings with Pledger.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history! A walk-off home run!
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
What's up, Danger? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pledger. I appreciate you joining me, however you may be joining for you. Whether that's 941 on your FM dial, if you happen to be locked in and listening live at sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate all those that are. You can stream the show and all of our shows live on YouTube. Just go there, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like and subscribe. You can comment along with the show as it happens. And as we found out at the end of the Blitz, I am going to be part of a 72-ounce steak challenge, apparently. And Antonio Moreno says he'll be rooting for me. So let's hope that things go well. I demolish food as it arrives in front of me. Now I just need to be able to come through on the big gut that has allowed me to devour most things. And let's see if I can sustain it for an entire hour without faltering. 12-team college football playoff is upon us. And earlier this morning on the Morning Huddle, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the playoff rankings behind me as they will be revealed. We'll let you know what happens. But this morning, Rob on the Morning Huddle talking about Texas's playoff chances.
So I know you all were thinking, what does Rob have his rankings at? And, can he see things in the perspective that is correct? Even though he's looking through maroon-colored sunglasses. Ohio State at number 1, Indiana 2, of course, Georgia 3. They certainly deserve it. Texas Tech, guess what? In my book, you deserve a bye. Top 4, Big 12 champ if they carry through. Then we get to the interesting stuff. Oregon, I think, is number 5. I think they might have maybe the best quarterback in college football, despite other guys getting more publicity. We'll talk about that. Ole Miss and A&M at 6 or 7. My football brain and my Aggie closet tells me that A&M probably should be 6th. I think a couple of their wins are probably a little bit better than Ole Miss's at the time when A&M beat the teams, as opposed to when Ole Miss beat the teams. I thought they were a little bit different. But I could certainly see Ole Miss coming in at 6 because, quite frankly, they won the Egg Bowl. They beat Mississippi State. Texas lost, or A&M lost to Texas, so I can see 7. Though I think if we went point for point, play by play, team for team, I think A&M probably deserves 6, but I'll put them at 7 just because of the loss. Oklahoma coming in at 8 for me. Notre Dame at 9. 10, Alabama. Again, that could flex according to where they sit. Now, this is where we get into what could be kind of a doomsday scenario for an entire conference. I have Virginia, if they beat Duke, as the ACC champion, and they get in. They've been ranked enough during the year. They're low quality. They are. They're not 1A kind of stuff. But I do think, given the past and given the obvious move to a 16-team tournament, the selection committee aren't going to set a precedent of leaving a power conference out. So I think if Virginia does get in or does win, beat Duke this week in the ACC title game, that they get it. And then at 12, Tulane. I think they might end up being. I don't know, losing their coach, what that's going to affect the votes they might get. I think that. Would you think Tulane, Edwin, or would you maybe go James Madison? Where do you see the group of 5 rep coming from?
Who's the best wins between the two teams?
Well, I think Tulane probably has some better wins.
But their coach is actually coaching them through the playoff, or if they make it, even though he's the Florida coach.
I just think all things. I think Tulane has a little bit of a track record. They've been good for a couple years.
They're in the AAC's tougher.
It's tougher. They've cycled through a couple of coaches. Remember, they lost Willie Fritz, and now they get another coach, and they maintain some stability as far as the program. If I was on the selection committee as we sit right now, I'd probably vote Tulane. But then we got to look at the doomsday scenario of what does the selection committee do if Duke wins? If Duke knocks Virginia out. The Duke is 7-5. They're unranked. If they go to 8-5, they'd be a conference champ, not ranked among the top 5 conference championships. There'd be several higher ranked teams from the group of 5, James Madison, Tulane, North Texas. I don't know what you do. And this isn't a matter of right and wrong, good or bad. This is more about precedent, because once we get past about 5 of these schools, there's really not a lot of, I just don't see there's not a dark horse that's going to sneak in there. Maybe Notre Dame can maybe frighten you, but I don't see OU. They don't seem to have enough offense. And I'm not saying they don't deserve to be there. I don't know about Tech's quality of schedule. I don't know how good they are. I know they're good enough to be there, and I'm not questioning whether they even get a bye. But are they good enough to knock off the upper echelon? I just don't see a 3-game run coming from any of these dudes, or even a 2-game run. So given that scenario, this isn't about the best teams, because this isn't how it's set up. And I just can't imagine, if I'm an athletic director in another conference like the Big 12, putting my 2 cents in for a conference not to make it because they didn't measure up, when I'm kind of in the same boat as the Big 12 or the ACC. They're kind of basketball conferences that every now and then are going to offer good football, but for the most part, what they were is not what they are. And by the way, while we're talking about it, did you know today is the anniversary of the death of the Southwest Conference?
What year was it?
I think that was 95.
Wasn't there like a 4 or 5-way tie for like the last Southwest Conference?
Pretty much. I know the last game was like Rice and Houston played the last game of the Southwest Conference era, and that was pretty much today or yesterday, back in 95, when the conferences closed down. And by that point, the Southwest Conference was about to become one of these lesser conferences. That's why they had to change. They were being weighed down by a couple of schools that either had some, got to keep in mind the era, some recruiting issues that kind of killed them, SMU, and some schools that kind of got left behind, like Rice and Houston, that have made some comebacks, but they needed to break up. This is the outcome of the new coalization, and we've got one conference that pretends to be a football conference that really kind of still is at their heart in the Big 12, and an ACC conference that hopes to offer 1 or 2 teams a year. They're even remotely nationally competitive. That's just how they are. And if they're gonna be that way, then maybe treat them that way and don't send them. But I wouldn't do it in the last year of just 12 teams. I think that if Virginia gets the win, they're in. And if Duke loses, if I'm a voter, I'm voting for Miami.
I don't know why Miami's not in ahead of Notre Dame when they beat them head to head.
I agree.
And they have the same record.
And that's one of those things that I
know it was week 1, but still, they played on the field.
We're holding other teams accountable for early losses. Ask Texas. I can fix a wrong, though. I can fix what used to not be fixable by getting Miami in. I'll still get an ACC rep. They just didn't win the division or win their conference, but they're the best team, and I'd give them the at-large. And that's a tough one, considering the at-large, we're talking about Texas and Alabama, quite frankly, is an at-large. And I mean, there's some really good at-large schools, but I think I can fix something that probably doesn't need to be fixed. I mean, the world wouldn't end if the ACCs didn't send a team. But if Duke beats Virginia, I think Miami's going to get in. I think that the committee has told us how much they like them by keeping them in the rankings, by keeping them in the tournament. I think the AP has showed us that they've got enough of the coaches and the writers behind them. I don't think there'd be that big of a kerfuffle if Miami got in and Texas didn't, because they would be representing a conference that, by the agreements, the letter, there's going to be a representative every year, the conference champion. Well, this year the conference champion wasn't good enough, but a runner-up is. I think that if I was one of the selection committee in the quiet and darkness of the voting booth, where I don't have to tell everybody what I did, I think I'd vote for Miami in, even though Texas is better. Texas is better. That's hard for me to say, but I think anybody who watched the game, or at least has watched Texas over the last 3 weeks, has to admit to themselves that not only are they one of the top 12 teams, really, you got to be one of the top 10, because 2 are gimmies. And they're a top 10 team. I think that they deserve every bit of it. But 3 losses, it's just not going to be any way to overcome it. What do you think? We had a Tech fan call in, and again, we kind of left Tech by the wayside because they don't have a Heisman candidate. They got a really well-known linebacker who's got a nice mustache and a helicopter flying wife, but really not a guy that we go, I can't wait to see him on the field, to go above and beyond, to really kind of draw you in above and beyond being the champion of the Big 12. That for most of the viewing public around the country, let's be honest, a lot of folks have not seen Tech play other than in the national game where Game Day showed up a couple weeks ago, where they just dispatched BYU. What do you think? Should Texas be in? 656-3776, 656 ESPN. Vincent called. So Texas should get in, huh?
Rob,
Yo.
Texas has no business getting in. You had 3 losses. You got blown out by Georgia. You lost to a terrible, terrible Florida team. And yes, you played Ohio State. Okay. But Sark, he was over there parading on the Calvin Cowherd show how he should get in. You got 3 losses, brother. I'm sorry. You have 3 losses. That's it. You played UTEP. You played San Jose State. You played a cupcake at the beginning of the season, and everyone was talking about how bad the offense was. Yes, you've been playing good the last 5 weeks, but you have 3 losses.
But Vincent, let me ask you a question. And I agree with everything you're saying. And there's going to be a lot of people saying that. I don't care what you say. You got 3 losses, you immediately get disqualified. But what about the eye test? What about looking at the teams that have a chance to go? And we know we can't send the top 12 teams because we got to send a group of 5, and we got to send, we're just not going to get that. But we can get by vote, whether, if not by ranking, but just by, gamesmanship, we can get 10 of the best teams in the country. And if you're going to do that, doesn't Texas need to be a part of that?
Interesting stuff, because the college football playoff rankings are out. Your top 12 is mostly set as of right now. Texas Tech did move up into getting a bye into the first week. Georgia, Indiana, and Ohio State 4-1. You look at 5, Oregon, 6, Ole Miss moved up a spot. Ole Miss, despite the loss of Lane Kiffin, moves up to 6th. And it's going to be extremely interesting to see how this all plays out, because Texas did move up. They jumped Vanderbilt and moved up to 13th. But I think they're a little too far out, because you've got Ole Miss, you've got Texas A&M not playing, Oklahoma not playing at 7-8. Bama, who is in the SEC title game, is at 9 at 10-2. Although if they become a 3-loss team with a loss in the conference championship, what does that mean? Notre Dame is currently 10th, BYU 11th, Miami 12th, and Texas 13th. And you're trying to get up into that spot that you would hope would be vacated by Alabama if they lose to Georgia. Right now, as it currently sits, they have Miami sitting in front of Texas. So it's going to be very difficult for Texas without a game to be able to move up in the voters' eyes. And Miami's best win against 10th ranked Notre Dame. Texas, they have wins against 7th ranked Texas A&M, 8th ranked Oklahoma. They played number 1 and number 3 Oklahoma's Ohio State and Georgia. They beat 14th ranked Vanderbilt. I mean, when you're comparing schedules, and I get it, beat Florida. And that's where I've stood for a long time on this, is beat Florida. But nothing that I've seen from Miami gives me any confidence that they can do anything in the playoffs, especially with how they performed in the ACC. Like, they were supposed to run away with this. Notre Dame was supposed to be their tough game, and they dropped. You talk about Florida, Texas losing to Florida. Miami lost a couple of these games, one of them being Louisville and another. I mean, so where's the line? Whose bad losses are worse? Whose good wins are better? And as Sark said, what's the point of playing in Ohio State anymore? If it's just about staying clean, they get enough tough competition within the SEC. And it's a damn shame, but we could see these great early season matchups like Texas, Ohio State, like Notre Dame, and all of these other great schools really not be scheduled anymore. And if that's the case, what does Notre Dame do to get good wins on their schedule? I mean, they have a loss to Miami and a loss to Texas A&M, 7-12. Those are arguably the two best teams they played this year. They lost to both of them. It's very interesting when you lay it out for the committee, because I don't think there's an easy decision here. And there is a gripe with every single one of these teams because none of them are clean. But you can't argue Texas is playing the best ball against some of the best competition going into the postseason. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. What say you? Give us a call on the hotline. We'll go ahead and put you through. What are your thoughts on how the rankings have borne themselves out and who deserves to be in versus who doesn't deserve to be in? Everything Texas State says Bama playing in the SEC title game will not be penalized if they lose. Texas is out. Sorry, Horns. Alabama lost to an unranked and bad Florida State team. So you compare wins and losses. That's all you can do. And because they got in the title game, sure. But you can make the case that Ole Miss should have been playing in the title game. Georgia should have. A&M should have been playing in the title game with only one loss. It came down to tiebreakers, and Alabama just happened to have one of the tiebreakers. So how's this going to work out? I'm not sure. But does it need to go to 16? Because after 16, I have a lot less questions. We'll take your calls next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Dallas Cowboys fans, come on down! It's AJ and Rob from the Morning Huddle.
And you could be the next contestant on
The Stat Is Right.
Every week leading up to the week of the Cowboys home game, AJ and Rob toss out a Cowboys player and a stat from the upcoming home game. Passing yards, rushing yards, number of times Dak adjusts his wristband mid-play, or perhaps CeeDee Lamb mouthguard chews per quarter. Whatever. All you have to do is predict that stat, get the closest, and bam! You're headed to Jerry World with a pair of tickets to the next Cowboys home game. Think of it like The Price is Right, but instead of winning a blender, you get to scream, "How about them Cowboys?" inside AT&T Stadium. So study up, Cowboy Nation, and listen to the Morning Huddle to play. The Stat is Right, only on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys.
Last year, we bought over 54,000 cars from your friends and neighbors at GiveMeTheVin.com. Why did they sell us their cars? It's because you're worth more and your car's worth more. I know that, and you know that. That's why I created GiveMeTheVin.com. It's the fastest and easiest way for you to sell your car for more money when it's time to sell. I'm sitting here waiting on the other end of GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Hornitos Tequila and America's team have one major thing in common. Everyone can enjoy them. They weren't made just to have a few fans, but to gather people who love high-quality, real Texas football and premium fresh-pressed agave tequila. It's for all our fans. Whether you live in Texas or not, or sip your Hornitos in a Paloma or straight, it's 100% agave tequila for 100% of Dallas Cowboys fans. Hornitos, the tequila de todos. Drink smart. Hornitos Tequila, 40% alcohol by volume. 2025 Salsa Tequila Import Company, Chicago, Illinois.
Hey, nice job, Pete. I like the clean lines. Fellas, do we have anyone that can get to Greenport today?
At Corey's Landscaping, the staffing plan is in the weeds.
Anthony, we need that leaf blower over here. 3 more new customer requests just came in. Who wants to work some overtime?
He needs to dig up quality landscapers and fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
By texting 24700, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from J.Crew Factory. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at jcrew.com.
At J.Crew Factory, Black Friday starts now. Come shop in store for 50 to 70% off everything, plus tons of limited time deals. You'll find the lowest price of the year on festive pajama pants for the family, all just $19.95, plus sweaters from $34.95 and so much more. Get in the spirit at J.Crew Factory, where you'll love our exclusive collection of classic styles for the whole family at prices that can't be beat. And today, save even more. Just text GIFTING to 24700 to receive an extra $25 off your purchase of $75 or more at your nearest J.Crew Factory store. Visit jcrewfactory.com to find your nearest San Antonio area store today. But first, get an extra $25 off your purchase of $75 or more when you text GIFTING to 24700. Text GIFTING to 24700 to get your $25 off coupon. That's GIFTING to 24700. See a store associate for details.
It's Dallas at Detroit, Thursday night football, and the best place to watch the game is at the Root Pub, 281 in Redland Road.
Pre-game with the Blitz live from the Root Pub from 2 to 6, and stick around to watch the game and show up hungry. You know the food is fantastic.
It's Thursday night, Dallas against Detroit. Start your weekend early with the Blitz live at the Root Pub from 2 to 6.
Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant, the Root Pub, 281 in Redland Road. See you Thursday at the Roo.
George Gets Justice. The holidays should bring warmth and family together, not an unexpected trip to the hospital after being hit by a careless driver. If this happens this holiday season, you need to get George. George Salinas Injury Lawyers handle everything, so you can focus on what really matters, being with the people you love. And remember, you only pay if they win. Call 210-225-0909 or visit getgeorge.com. George Gets Justice. GetGeorge.com. Principal Office, San Antonio.
Ulta Beauty's big holiday beauty sale is back with up to 50% off must-have gifts. Shop irresistible deals like the Shark Beauty Flex Style and Benefit Cosmetics travel size mascaras. With new offers weekly, same-day pickup or delivery, and our trusted associates, we make holiday shopping effortless. Head into Ulta Beauty today. Ulta Beauty. Gifting happens here.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Always appreciate y'all rolling through. Daniel earlier on the call says Texas absolutely deserves to be in. There's no way that Miami deserves to be in, even though they're just a 2-loss team. Their losses being to Louisville and SMU. Their best wins, though, Notre Dame, and Pittsburgh. Those are the ranked opponents they have on their schedule. And that's part of it. You take into account everything, do you not? Drew Show is asking if there's any credibility to the rumor of the sources that Manu joined the Spurs coaching staff. I don't know. I haven't even heard that rumor. So I would say no. He also said he suggests that the committee plays a game of rock, paper, scissors with the ADs on these 2 lost teams to decide who gets in. Still leaving Texas on the outside looking in. Look, and I've said this from the beginning, beat Florida. I can argue the loss to Georgia. I can argue the loss to Ohio State. I can't argue the loss to Florida. You got to handle your business, especially in the conference, especially when it's against one of the weaker teams in the conference. I know they struggled against Mississippi State and Kentucky, both also near the bottom of the SEC, but they got hot at the end and they handled their business against Vanderbilt and Arkansas and Texas A&M. So where do you put the stop in the wins? Is it over the course of the season? Is what they did early, what they did late? Do you penalize them because Sark's right? And I'll let you hear it from Sark's mouth. Like, what is the point of them scheduling in Ohio State if it's just about accumulating wins?
That's being considered for the college football playoff has a better strength of schedule than ours. We're number 5 in strength of schedule overall, and no other school from Ohio State down has a better strength of schedule than we do. Then the second bullet point is head-to-head competition. There's 2 teams that are essentially above the line right now that we've beaten head-to-head, and there's a third team that is right where we are that we've beaten head-to-head. And then I look at, okay, in the SEC, there's 4 7-1 teams right now, and then there's 3 6-2 teams. We beat the other 2 6-2 teams head-to-head. We're the first team to beat 3 top 10 ranked teams in the same season during the regular season since Joe Burrow and LSU in 2019. So there's been a lot of really good teams. We played 5 top 10 ranked teams this season. The next closest team of all those schools I'm talking about in the CFP has played 2. We played 5. So are we looking at quality of the teams that you play and how do you play against those quality opponents? And we went 3-2. And yes, we stubbed our toe at Florida in our SEC opener. But from that moment on, we go 6-1. And of the 7 games we play, 4 of those games are against top 10 ranked teams in America. That other teams have played an entire schedule, still haven't played 4, never mind 3. Most of them played 2, 1, or none. And we go 3-1 in those games. And so to me, that's my point. And I get it. We scheduled Ohio State. We went and played that game. We lose 14-7. We get stopped inside the 5-yard line twice on 2 4th downs. We outgain them by nearly 200 yards. We lose 14-7. We lost the game. But they've beaten every other team they played on their schedule by 3 scores. And so at that point, it's like, why do we even play that game? Because if we're a 10-2 team right now that played 4 top 10 ranked opponents with 3 wins still in the top 10, we're not even having a discussion right now. We're probably ranked 6th in the country in the CFP. We're not having a discussion. So my point is, why the hell am I going to play that game next year? For what? What good does it do me?
And he's right, because it does feel like it is about collecting wins more than anything, but it's always been about collecting wins. And when it was just 4, you had to have some meat in your wins to make sure that you got into the top 4 in case there were more than one no-loss teams or multiple one-loss teams. So you had to have the best strength of schedule and pretty wins. In Sark's case, I get it, but I also don't, because you can get away with the losses you had, including the Ohio State one. You got to handle the business against the teams that you should handle business against. And you can't say stub your toe knowing going into the back half of your schedule that you've got to play perfect. And you're close in Athens for 3 quarters. And then they run away and hide from you. Those are 2 things that are on you as the head coach. And it's not so much the schedule as it is the way that y'all played. You didn't play good early. You survived early a lot. But the problem is, when you're surviving early a lot and you're not playing your best ball, somebody could get you. But the reason you're into the discussion is because of the teams that you've played, because of how many good teams you've played. So it's a give and a take. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. When we come back, the Blitz earlier today talking with Indy Kalu, and Indy Kalu is always one of my favorites because it gets wild. But one thing that is definitely not in question is his love of that Texans defense and how well it's playing. Can it lead them into the postseason now that they are back firmly in the mix? And what does it look like against Kansas City this weekend? We'll find out from Indy Kalu coming up next, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 94.1 FM. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Thursday night at 7:15. The Cowboys are in the Motor City, taking on the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. Pre-game at 6. Presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, the Davis Law Firm, Hornitos Tequila, Connecticut, and Jim Beam.
How about you, Cowboys?
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. South Texas home of the Dallas Cowboys.
Pork rinds are the crunch time hero of the snack aisle. Low carb, collagen packed, and high in protein, so you can keep the energy high without the guilt. The porkrinds.com Instagram will make a crunch time donation with each share of the Crunch Time Hero College Football Post, with each share equaling a $1 donation to the Archer Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to helping families dealing with DIPG, DMG, pediatric brain cancer. Share on Instagram today and grab yourself a bag of Southern Recipe pork rinds at HEB.
When your business needs an electrician, for over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. Powered by relationships with dedicated estimators who analyze the issue, research cost-effective solutions, and clearly communicate the options without charging you a dime. A proven process that allows you to continue focusing on your unique purpose. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or hill-electric.com.
You know, a way for you to make December pro basketball a lot more entertaining and exciting is if you're playing on Underdog. The best place to get in on all the action. From fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties. At Underdog, you can make your picks and win money right now in Texas. And it's easy to do. All you have to do is get your favorite players and decide higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Whether you're thinking about a De'Aaron Fox, a Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, get your picks right. You can win up to 5,000 times your cash. So download the Underdog app today and use promo code STAR to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code STAR at Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Texas. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, oh, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Listen up, San Antonio. At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can get college credit for the stripes you've earned. Turn your military rank into college credit to save time and money on an online degree. Eligible enlisted service members and previously enlisted veterans may receive up to 12 credits for select undergraduate courses based on their rank, and up to 90 credits in total for prior learning, military experience, and training. Classes start soon. Learn more at umgc.edu/SATX.
Discover the newest place to play at Top Golf New Braunfels, opening this Friday in the New Braunfels Town Center at Creekside. Top Golf New Braunfels features new games, food and drink, a 9-hole mini golf course, and half-off gameplay Monday through Thursday. Come play at Top Golf New Braunfels.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
The following is a dramatization.
Davis Law Firm. How can I help?
Hi, I got hurt in a wreck, but I don't know if it's really worth getting an attorney.
Don't worry. You called the right place.
I'm Jeff Davis. At Davis Law Firm, we're here for you 24/7, and you don't pay unless we win. We recently secured a jury verdict for $210 million in a wrongful death case. So if you've been hurt, call us at 444-4444.
Davis Law Firm, San Antonio.
San Antonio's Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Appreciate y'all riding along with me tonight as we take you up till 7 o'clock. Lots to get into today. The Houston Texans, they had a big win up in Indianapolis. C.J. Stroud makes his return. The defense does what it does, and the Texans are now within a game of the top of the AFC South, along with the Colts and the Jaguars, with those two teams facing off this Sunday. Houston, they have themselves a date with the Kansas City Chiefs. What does Indy Kalu think about all this? Well, luckily for us, he joins the Blitz on Tuesdays, and he shared his thoughts not only on that win over Indy, but what they got coming up against Kansas City.
Knowing the amount of points that Indy has put up on pretty much everybody, their run game, what their pass game has been, were you surprised that Texans defense held them to 16?
I wasn't surprised, and I'm not going to sit up here and say I told you so, but the defense, I mean, again, Jason, I feel like this is a historic defense we're watching. Am I going to compare them to the 85 Bears? Absolutely not, out of respect for the Bears. Am I going to sit up here and say they're the Baltimore Ravens when Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and co led them to a Super Bowl? I think they're playing at that type of level, but I'm not going to, again, say that they're those two defenses. But for what we've seen with the Houston Texans organization, I mean, I have every game I walk away from the television or from the stadium saying, man, this defense continues to get better. So I heard all the talk before the game that the Indianapolis Colts had a streak of 20 or more points and the Houston Texans defense had a streak of 20 or less points. And I felt like it was going to fall on the side of the defense just because of the way they play and how consistent they've been. And they've been relatively healthy. There's a little bit of luck involved when you talk about health in the NFL. And they got Petrie back, who is one of the more underrated defensive players in the league. And they have their studs. I mean, this has been a pretty healthy unit so far in the season.
Well, I think the most impressive thing, Indy, about that game was, Jonathan Taylor had been one of the hottest running backs in the NFL, and you hold the Colts under 100 yards rushing. I mean, that's impressive. Put the ball in Daniel Jones's hands and make him beat you, and obviously that didn't happen.
No, that's very impressive, especially when people try to point to a weakness with the Texans defense and they say, well, it's in the middle of the defense. So when you have a strong running attack that you're facing, and if your weakness truly is in between the B gaps, that's where you expect the team to exploit, and they weren't able to do that. He still had over 80 yards rushing on 20-something attempts, but when you look at the defense, every level, and in that interior, the defensive tackles, the middle linebacker playing with gap integrity, they held the point and they took on that challenge, and it was just fun to watch. And now you start to wonder, is there a weakness on this defense?
Talking with San Antonio Sports Hall of Famer Indy Kalu here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Defense for Houston is one of those teams that can steal all the headlines from the offense. But let's talk about that Texans offense. C.J. Stroud comes back for this one. And really for the first time, I felt like he looked really comfortable in the offense. And I'm not sure if he's just now on the same page finally, or the 3 games off dealing with the concussion, watching Davis Mills work. He just looked comfortable to me. Did you see the same thing in C.J. Stroud?
Yes, and I think it's because of the latter of what you said. Being able to sit back for 3 games, and keep in mind, C.J. Stroud, say what you want about him, he's a student of the game. But to be able to sit back and watch Davis Mills operate, and you saw some of those characteristics as far as getting the ball out in a hurry, as far as understanding that Nico Collins is your number 1 target. So feed the beast as many times as possible. Whether he's open or not, you still have to take shots with Nico Collins. So I do believe sitting out for three games, being able to watch and study, not just what Davis Mills was doing, but the entire offense. It looked like you said, when you said it looks like he's more comfortable, for me, it felt like the game slowed down for him, and that'll do it for you. Obviously, I'm not a quarterback, and playing quarterback's much tougher than defensive end, but the year I was injured, and I just sat back and I was able to watch the season. I would sit in the linebacker meeting rooms, even though I was a defensive end. The year I came back, the game really slowed down. So I could see a scenario, and I could appreciate why C.J. Stroud looked more comfortable. And here's where else I'm excited. He didn't have a lights out game. I'm still waiting for that lights out game, and they've been able to have this 4-game win streak, mainly because of the defense, and we still haven't seen that explosion on the offensive side.
Well, I think what I saw and what I'm impressed with the Houston Texans over the last couple of games is that offensive line is getting better. I mean, as much as we hammered them early and as bad as they were, they are getting better. And I don't care who you are, what quarterback you are. If you got a little time to throw the football, you can make the defense pay.
No, 100%. I mean, I've said it time and time again. I'll continue to say it as much as I watch football. The most important position group, in my opinion, is the offensive line. It'll make a good quarterback look great, an average quarterback look good, a good running back look great, so on and so on. And that was the weak point of this entire team. And they're starting to play with more confidence. And again, they can still improve. There was a play against Ed Ingram where the Colts defensive tackle, his name escapes me. And the reason his name escapes me because they literally just brought him up from the practice squad, and he did Ed Ingram the way he did. And when the commentator was like, "Oh, he was on practice squad last week," I was like, "Oh, geez." but they learned from the mistake, and Ingram had a good game after that, where he beat him for a sack or for a tackle for loss. But my point is that they're playing with more confidence. You're not going to have a perfect game, and they seem to be able to make up for their mistakes and learn from their mistakes, where you're not seeing them give up the same stunt. When I say stunt, I'm talking about the defensive line stunts. They're not giving up pressures or sacks on the same stunt as they do before. So that lets me know they're going back to the sideline. They're looking at the tablet. They're making the adjustments, and they're just getting better week in and week out.
Indy Kalu joining us here on the Blitz. There was a play by the offensive line, and I don't know which lineman, but I don't know what you call a super pancake, but you know what block I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what block you're talking about.
As a defensive player, how miserable was that film session when he was in his defensive line group? What's the kangaroo court punishment for getting just embarrassed like that?
So here's the thing. If you win, you all laugh at it, and it still sucks. And as soon as it happens, when you're laying there and you're staring up into the sky or up into the ceiling of the stadium, if it's a closed stadium, you're not thinking like, "Oh, I'm hurt," or "Man, I gave up. I gave this up on the play." You're literally thinking, "This is gonna suck on Monday when I watch film." Like that's the first thought that goes through your mind, and it's bad. The cool thing is if you have a supportive group or a supportive coach, they'll say something like, hey, if you play long enough, it's going to happen to everybody. But if you have a bunch of jerks as friends, the friends where you don't need enemies, they're going to put that on loop. They're going to have it on their phone screens. They're going to bring it up every chance that they get because, it's happened to all of us, but it's very embarrassing.
Well, I think it's good. And the offensive lineman's got to be very happy about that too. Just that, because how much trash talking is there, or is there, Indy, between the offensive line and the defensive line?
Oh, there's a lot, especially when you talk about a pancake. There's a lot of trash talk going on. You do have a certain respect for one another because when you get in the trenches, whether you're the offensive lineman or defensive lineman, there's going to be a time when you're in a compromising position. Like, for instance, if I'm trying to separate from an offensive lineman and he gets rolled up from behind, a lot of times I'll kind of hold him up so, he doesn't bend back. But if it's a jerk, if it's a guy that, is known for cheap shots, and if he gets rolled up, you try to bend him back and break his leg. So you know that there's going to be a time when you're in that situation. So, you'll talk trash, but it'll be as lighthearted as possible. There was a time, I don't know if y'all remember the name Jeremy Shockey, tight end for the Giants.
Yeah.
So there was a time where I still don't think it's a pancake, but he was blocking me, and I tripped over another player. So he drove me into the ground. And as I'm falling to the ground, I'm yelling, "This isn't a pancake." And when he landed on me, he was like, "Nope, that's a pancake." And I'm like, "No, I tripped over." Like, we're having an argument. And keep in mind, he's actually helping me up. Like, we're having an argument. I'm like, "That's not a pancake because I tripped. I tripped over your guy." And he's like, "Nope, that's a pancake." He's like, "Nope, it's a pancake." So we have like a 30-second argument. I don't even know if they picked up the first down or not. And then during film, I was right. We tripped, and I had a buddy that played for the Giants. And I remember I texted him. I was like, "Tell Jeremy to watch the film. It wasn't a pancake." So,
Indy Clue, always a great time. You can catch all of our interviews in the audio vault at sasportstar.com, powered by AA Best Bail Bonds. Indy Clue and all our guests join via the Buyers Barricades guest line to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond, online at buyersbarricades.com. When we come back, we're going to take a look at tonight's Spurs game. That's right, they're back in action, and that's right, they are back at home in the Frost Bank Center, something we haven't had and won't have again for a while. Just a quick one-offer we'll talk about as we come back right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Stars 50K Pro Football Pick'em giveaway is back. Head to sasportstar.com and pick the winners of each pro football game every week to earn points for each correct pick. Highest points each week wins a $25 gift card to Mellow Mushroom. Highest points overall scores $1,000 worth of tickets from A Awesome Tickets. Pick the winning ticket of every regular season game. Win the grand prize, $50,000. This is an Audience National contest across multiple markets. The 50K Pro Football giveaway. Register and win at sasportstar.com.
Another episode brought to you by Prize Picks. And I'll tell you, it's the holiday season. It's the best time of year for sports. The bowl games are beginning. You got college and pro basketball. You got playoff pushes all around, and it's all happening at once. There's no better place to play than at Prize Picks. I love going to Prize Picks because I get to stack different leagues. I like a football play. Let's say I like Jamar Chase this weekend. I also like Wemby with the blocks. I can add that in there as well. And you like to play the hockey as well. You've got everything there that you can stack above and beyond that. If you have a favorite player, you can play them in a lot of different ways. That's Prize Picks. Go download the app today. And when you do, remember the code Alamo. If you remember the word Alamo, there's free play in there. So go download Prize Picks and remember the code Alamo. Get your money early. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's the code Alamo to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it tis the season to go play on your Prize Picks. And you know why? Because it feels so good to be right.
On the job, every minute counts. That's why Lowe's now has ProBlock Quick Dry Primer, expertly manufactured by Sherwin-Williams. Engineered for pros to dry fast and go on smooth for virtually flawless results that keep your job moving. It's available in oil and water-based, and getting it is easy. Order online by 2 p.m. and get free same-day delivery right to your job site. Lowe's, we help, you save. Orders placed after 2 p.m. will be delivered next day. Valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. More terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/play.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
By texting 24700, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from J. Crew Factory. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at jcrew.com.
At J.Crew Factory, Black Friday starts now. Come shop in store for 50 to 70% off everything, plus tons of limited time deals. You'll find the lowest price of the year on festive pajama pants for the family, all just $19.95, plus sweaters from $34.95 and so much more. Get in the spirit at J.Crew Factory, where you'll love our exclusive collection of classic styles for the whole family at prices that can't be beat. And today, save even more. Just text GIFTING to 24700 to receive an extra $25 off your purchase of $75 or more at your nearest J. Crew Factory store. Visit jcrewfactory.com to find your nearest San Antonio area store today. But first, get an extra $25 off your purchase of $75 or more when you text GIFTING to 24700. Text GIFTING to 24700 to get your $25 off coupon. That's GIFTING to 24700. See a store associate for details.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation, so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star and AARP Texas are sending Cowboy fans to Jerry World to see America's team play all season long. How do you get in on the action? Head to sasportstar.com now and register to win. sasportstar.com. Live it up with the boys in the Big D from AARP Texas and 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. South Texas home of the Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pledger here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I am James Pledger, and I appreciate y'all joining me. However y'all may be joining me, it's always great to have y'all riding along. Spurs in action tonight. They are 13-6 on the year, 8-2 at home, and they are back home after this stretch of 7 of 8 on the road. They will be leaving to go back on the road. This is just a little home game stuck in between a bunch of road games, but They do have Memphis. Memphis is playing better than expected at 9-12 on the season. They're 5-6 on the road, and you've got to take care of business while you can. Still no John Morant for them, no Ty Jerome, no Brandon Clark, no Scottie Pippen Jr. Like, they are equally as hurt, even though the Spurs are without Wemby and Castle and McLaughlin. The Memphis Grizzlies also not at 100%, and you're at home. You've been good at home. They're on the road. They've been bad on the road. You've got to take care of business. And I know they let one slip away the other night, coming off the heels of that big win in Denver, which got you into the quarterfinals of group play. But you got to capitalize on this. You got to stack these wins, especially while your guys are hurt, and beat the teams that you should be beating. And that's kind of the sign of this team turning the corner into being a much better team than it's been. And that's very important for the Spurs. It is one of the steps that they take along the way. And it allows them to stay in the race and weather the storm. And when Wemby comes back and when Castle comes back, and you've got Fox and Harper and you're operating at full strength once again, then you have the opportunity to really see what this team's made of. And right now, from what it sounds like, those guys are angling to be back for that December 10th game when they start quarterfinal play in the NBA Cup out in Vegas. So it's going to be very interesting to see if, when one, maybe both of those guys, Castle and Wemby, return. But until then, you got to continue to do what you've been doing, which is holding down the fort and winning these games that you should win. This has been Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star 941 FM, sasportstar.com. Remember, call, check on your loved ones. You never know what people are going through in life, especially this time of year. And a simple, hey, how are you doing, can change everything for them. This has been Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for rolling through with me tonight. We will see you again tomorrow right here on 941 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Gomez Law Firm is San Antonio's leader in personal injury law, and we have Jose with the Gomez Law Firm here with us to share more.
Number one priority